Happy Pride, everyone. I'm Sandy Yannone, your host of Cultivating Voices, live poetry. And today it is our 4th annual Poetry Pride Parade. I hope you all are safe and well wherever you are on the Pride Parade route for today. Well, everyone, I would like to just share a little history of the Pride Parade with you. This marks the 53rd anniversary of the first Pride Parade that happened in 1970. The Pride Parade emerged as a way to celebrate and elevate and visualize and make visible members of the LGBTQ plus community after the Stonewall riots in 1969. So as I mentioned, the very first Pride Parade happened in New York City, as well as a few other cities in the US. Pride is now celebrated across the globe. And this year marks the 53rd anniversary of the very first Pride Parade. Well, I'm Sandy Yannone, your Grand Marshal for the parade today, our Poetry Pride Parade. It's our 4th anniversary of our Pride Parade. And our very first parade, we have many folks here in Zoom with us who were joining us and actually read as part of that first Pride Parade. It went 4.5 hours long. If you were here, you probably remember and are still recovering. Trust me, I've learned. Our reading today will not be 4.5 hours long. However, it will be packed with as much energy and excitement and power as our very first Pride Parade. We've got some tremendous featured readers today. So excited to be having Fern, Mark Ward, Leenee Reid, Gustavo Hernandez joining us as our featured readers today. And so many of you here in Zoom with us have already signed up for the open mic to be part of the parade processional. I just want to also mention that if you were expecting to see Trace Peterson today and Kai Cogan, unfortunately, Trace has had a health issue today that prevents her from being here, and Kai is having some technical issues from her part of the world and will not be here with us today either, but both will be back on a future program of Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. We send our best out to the two of them. And of course, I want to encourage you to follow them and support them in their endeavors. Trace, I'll mention briefly, is this year, Trace is the co-editor of what was the first transgender poetics and poetry anthology in the United States, Troubling the Line. That book is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year from Nightboat Books. If I get a moment, I will put that in the chat for you all. I want to mention a couple other. I want to mention also Kai is the poet laureate of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and many of you, of course, know Kai Cogan well, you've heard Kai read here on Cultivating Voices live poetry with her newest collection, Mining for Stardust, but you also likely partake with Kai's amazing series from Hot Springs, Arkansas, Wednesday Night Poetry, which was likely the very first poetry series that went virtual during the pandemic. It existed before we started Cultivating Voices. It existed before Not the Time to Be Silent. We came online pretty quickly after that, but Wednesday Night Poetry is the longest running continuous live open mic in the United States. Been going for over 30 years. That's my understanding. If you know of one that's longer than that, let me know. We'll make sure we give that a plug. But again, we send our best to both Trace and Kai, and please follow them. Well, I want to give a special shout out also to today to two folks that I see here in the room with us, Risa Denenberg and Meriam. They are the co-founders of Headmistress Press, which was the sponsor of our very first Pride Parade reading. And I'm really just so pleased to have the two of you with us today. And thank you for all of your support of Cultivating Voices live poetry and poetry in general for the LGBTQ community. If you're not familiar with their publications, please do check out Headmistress Press. All of you, please do feel free to put information about your organizations into the chat. We definitely want to celebrate all of your accomplishments today. And I also want to give a special call to all of you during the program. It's not something we typically do, but I thought it might be a great idea. We use the chat so generously here and during our readings that we might do a roll call of all the LGBTQ plus poets living and who are our legacy, the legacies for us in the chat during the readings, so that we just call in as many voices as we can today. So feel free to put the names of those folks that have inspired and continue to inspire you into the chat. And I'll certainly be putting some names of my own in as well. Well, that's a good reminder that, of course, please use the chat respectfully and generously. Show your love for the readers. Our featured readers today will we'll have our features go first, and then we head right to the open mic and we'll get as many folks in as we can in our 90-minute program today. Well, so let's begin then. I am so happy to introduce as our first reader today, Fern. I have the unbelievable, I'm doing very informal bios today, everybody, because it's parade. It's parade. I've had the unbelievable privilege and pleasure, honor, to sit in a room and hear Fern read their poems. Fern, just yesterday, Fern's been writing for a very long time, is invested in poetics and poetry at the highest level. Creates beautiful zines, promotes poets and writers every day, working with me in the Writing Center at the Evergreen State College, where Fern just graduated yesterday. But Fern has been writing for a long time, has been publishing, and writes amazing essays as well. And I couldn't be more overjoyed than to have you open this Poetry Pride Parade today, Fern. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Sandy. So good to see everybody. Yeah, I will get started. Yeah. So the first one that I'm reading is MHLV They. Some of us wait. Beneath magnolia trees, creamy pink light, faint bouquets slipping into driveways, wake. Drinking velvet coffee, LV dog, watch. As I shed gleaming handkerchiefs into boat wakes, push off, left alone. I ask the tree to advise me an offering, and they crave me gently, pause, and smell their tint. I give a deep in-breath, injured species melding, long effused vowel, raised cave bones, my shoulders, my ribs, my back, like H did when they came in, the bell on the door jingling, and then they took off their shoes. The nerves in my hands, electric currents rushing towards evermore coffee, ampules of words to talk our way all the way back to being ginger, pepper, a flame at your kitchen table, splendor, whole petal, and bite. The second reason why I don't smell flowers comes back to me. Your name in the wake of breathing, steel of aviators, pink of sunburn, M. grandiflora looks at me long enough, and the other trees turn back to flying fighter jets and photoshopping ammunition in a haze of gunpowder and sunblock. You stay, your vapor between your petals, and remind me you, like other less broken people who know they are loved and do not have to believe, who no one asks to share supper for song, they tell stories of your in-bloom shrapnel falling from sky, eye, made of more than metal, speed on Sundays, in middle time, single lane highways delivering flowers to friends. Today, I harvest hypomania, collect petals, LV rolls in beneath a giver too spindly to call trunk. We work quickly, keep up with the pace of forgotten regattas and mutual ghostings, of daily leaving dogs at shelters and hearts hummingbird beating in between oven timers, bake. Browning, twinkle awful, breaking. Honey-eyed petal bread with LV. Today, showers and queer things buoy in sky, divers with open parachutes, broad lips of magnolia catching air, a star in sky, a constellation I sleep under, wish dreaming M, to parachute down into backyards, our unneeded rituals. LV begging, me checking an ever empty mailbox, rolling trash cans up the driveway, plastic wheels turn, imprinting the remaining petals on Tuesdays alone. Thanks, everybody. The second one I'm going to read is called Timesheet. I don't know if folks know this, but Sandy is my boss. I say that in loose terms because she's really sweet employer. And she asks us or invites us to write timesheet poems to remind ourselves to turn in our timesheets because like we're not that great at linear time, at least I'm not. So we write poems about timesheets to remind each other to turn in our timesheets. So this was born from that. This does have content warnings for war and weapons, guns. Another day, 58 years ago, bombs dropped into an ocean, into homes, into farmland. Another hour, 7.5 million tons of bombs. Another minute, the ocean is a new ocean remembering itself. Clocks turn, pens swish and scurry, shells rest in fields, water at their edges. Keyboards clip and clatter. I am too hot to call you. The ocean is too hot to cool me. Waves collapse, crestless. Elvie dog sleeps, waits, dreams. I do not want to wait to walk her. I do not want to wait to love you. A wave reabsorbs itself. Work makes the ocean into a waiting ocean. Forever listening. Sand grains claim contaminants. Farmers collect shells, hearing shots and nursery dreams. I sleep in the wooden bodice of your voice. Bubblegum in salt water. Anchoring writer to page, resonating on sound maps. I scrape the best of our words together, the ones that stick to the tongue, lick batter, lick spatula. You turn in black lava cake and rainbow confetti icing. Coffee, 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 vet bills, tuition, clothes to look nice for school and work, internet for work, therapy, coffee, pizza, car payments, therapy for work, car repairs, dog food, mood stabilizers, groceries, health insurance, pain meds, Zoloft, co-pays, savings for top surgery, insulin, gas, flying home, rent, electricity, water, coffee. Time with you. In the pages, I find myself alone in. Fed in this way. A smile, a stick with my hand on one end, her teeth on the other. I let myself text you, a falling wave, a seal dives, my real paycheck. So yeah, the last one, it's really my pleasure to be able to read this. Even in Trace's absence, I just want to mention just the impact that Troubling the Line has had on me, just in terms of being able to love myself and others. And it's really cool to be kind of like sprouting up within a community that has supported and helped me. And yeah. So this is a poem about ancestry. And it's just great to be able to share this here with Sandy in the room and just like kind of the intergenerational vibe of this space. It does have content warnings for fire. RSVP to a snag. Lightning hollowed you out, death becoming you, the conductor, the container from the inside out, allowing yourself to hollow, offering the driest part of yourself, the part of you that was almost dead, soft, crumbling, becoming fuel from the inside out. From there, you held us. Inside, time was depression time. I can stay here as long as I would like, feed on muffled time here, big leaves, everything happening through this cavernous veil. Everything is emptied in here. Everything is hollowed. Everything is remembered here. I can remember nothing, nothing, breathing, a break from memory, allowing ourselves, you allowing me, inside you, inside an off button with no future, all past. I press a complete pause to name my breath. With this space, everything is emptied, nothing here, nothing resists my breathing. I'm inside the lungs you've made, the container you left. Burn xylem holds all of us. I look to the edge of your toes, remembering the blackness became itself into dross, my toes shoveling your toes, being is turning and being a little bit at a time, a little bit of me, of you. Bring eternity into moving time, an eye looking out, a knife of space, careening lightning, a slit in separation, re-entering through more space. Maybe I'll be empty someday. Maybe I will house someone. Maybe I will hold space. Maybe I will be space. Maybe an ancestor. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody, that is Fern. First of what I hope will be a number of readings here on Cultivating Voices, live poetry, and certainly when you publish your first book, if that is your aspiration. You know, I don't make that assumption for every single human being. You know, I don't want to always have that be the priority for every person, you know, or make, as I said, make that assumption, but we've worked together. I know some things, you know some things. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful set to open up our Poetry Pride Parade here, our 4th annual Poetry Pride Parade here on Cultivating Voices live poetry. Folks, as I've been mentioning, feel free to put information about upcoming readings that you have, your publications. As you know, we have so many people who are going to be reading on the open mic today after our features. We definitely want to amplify all of your accomplishments, dreams, and ways to connect the community of poets that are here. And also those of you, we know you're out there. Those of you watching us live here in Zoom, those of you watching us live on Facebook, and the hundreds and hundreds of you that will be watching our recordings. Thank you, one and all. Happy Pride Parade. And thank you again, Fern. I'm going to switch the order up a little bit because I already had my first faux pas. Leenee and I were talking, Leenee is creating, well, Leenee's like a wizard, a magician, a sorcerer of many, many things. And next week in Olympia is having a complete 2-day festival, but is also traveling today and needs to leave a little early. And I said, yeah, we'll get you in first.
Thanks.
And then I completely wig. I'm not wearing a wig. I'm just wearing my hat. Folks, we first saw Leenee Reid as part of our suffrage anniversary, 100th anniversary on the suffrage reading. And you have a new book out?
I do.
You do. You're going to tell us about it.
Right here.
There it is.
This is my new,
Your new book?
yes, this is my new book, Aware and I, that I'll be reading 2 poems from today. Yes, thank you for having me back. This is a lovely show to always watch. It's wonderful. I got a couple poems that I think are good for the Pride Parade today. And this doesn't really need a warning. I just want to point out that it sticks the landing, so don't think it's turfy when it gets too feminist in the beginning, okay? Keep listening. In the beginning was nothing, a great emptiness. Even darkness, sky, stars, and earth were born from it. All comes from and returns to her. The womb and torus of life. In the beginning was mystery, psyche, thought. Even before spark, sound, song, heavenly lips poured harmony into existence. That gift-weaving flow from the abyss is creation. In the beginning was nothing, and the nothing was goddess, and she birthed everything, just as women have for all of humanity. She is highest, mother of gods, queen of queens, forever. Hallelujah, the creator of time. In a day she gives life. Goddess is blessed with blood, for a week stays alive. In her holy month she brings renewal, changing her outfit, mood, face, decorations, diapers, and the sheets, rising and falling with each phase of the moon, change of the tide, season of the year, sacred time, her months. 13 true is the blood of life that made you. Goddess has the power to choose to spend 9 months of existence how she wants to, or not. Life, death, hers. Women created time, counting days on bones till her next flow, until the sun, who always leaves us in the cold, returns. Hell, Satan, underworld, Hades. The darkness was lovely before you started threatening people to be trapped there. Everything comes from the void. She is powerful, all-encompassing, holds you, lifts all, was mighty before giving birth to God. Goddess creates life from darkness, heals the greatest pains, blends medicines, gathers herbs, berries, was the first midwife, doctor, and undertaker. As men brought warriors from the hunt, wars, bleeding, pestilent lands. Women were the first OBGYN, surgeons, pharmacists, healers before men invented what? Please, wisdom, knowledge, Sophia, growth, abundance, harvest, cornucopia, beauty, love, harmony, everything good and holy is the name of a goddess. Women birth every dream, seed, meal, treatment. There was only ever one holy mother. The sun, all-powerful Ra, should thank her for his birth, for she is pleased with her son. No man or God can destroy nor create the universe that continually builds and destroys itself, just like a woman. Just as the moon waxes and wanes, it was birthed, it will die, it will be reborn, as will all you have ever seen. As a tree grows, falls, feeds the next generation, that is the torus of existence, life, creation. We come from the darkness of the mother. We return to the darkness of the soil. We are forever held by the blackness of space. She is massive. She is all-encompassing. Goddess giveth and taketh away. So God bless the queen and every queen that came from her. Tiamat, Inanna, Ishtar, Lakshmi, Rupal, Danu, Ma'at, Kuan Yin, Freya, Asherah, Pele, Ain, Beyonce, Hera, Hecate, Stevie Nicks, Morgan, Lilith, Oshun, Marsha, P. Johnson. Every idea was born from the All-Mother. In the beginning was Goddess. She creates everything, and everything returns to her. That's the first one. So I just like to point out, because I know when people are hearing the poems and I can hear their wheels turning in their head, it's saying it's including everybody. It's that anybody can be a woman, create themselves, recreate themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not trying to be exclusionary or anything like that. But you can't make people understand how they want to. So here we go. This is my poem about my crush I've had for years on my friend girl. I wonder what she tastes like in the summer when berries are ripe. Is she sweet as honeysuckle growing on the vine? I wonder what she tastes like in the fall, pumpkin spice and butternut squash soup, poppy seeds under her fingernails from baking something sweet. I wonder what she tastes like at the holidays, vegan eggnog and chocolate mint pudding, powdered sugar on her nose, chocolate dripped onto her toes. I wonder what she tastes like in the spring, fresh salad shoots and herbs, crisp and clean like morning dew, cleaver and dirt stuck to her cheek. I wonder what she tastes like on a Wednesday afternoon, relaxing with a beautiful cup of tea, violets floating on top, munching on a celery stick. I wonder what she tastes like as I go to bed with myself alone again, lavender and rose under my pillow, dreaming of summer in every season. There we go. Yes, those are both from my book, Awareness. You can find my work online. I'm on most streaming services as well. I have spoken word albums, so you can find me there, and I'll put a link in the chat. Thank you very much.
That is the ever powerful Leenee Reid. Oh my gosh. Awareness is the new creation in
Yes,
the world.
and my
And-
festival.
Oh, your festival.
Yes, if you're in Olympia next weekend, I'll be having a festival with poets and awareness and consciousness and all kinds of things that you'll be at, right? You'll be there.
I will indeed. I'll be,
Well,
because we don't have the program next Sunday, I'll be joining all of you next Sunday. And first of all, thank you for the invitation. Always, always a joy to be in your company and energy. Amazing, amazing energy.
thank
And
you.
congratulations on the new book, and we'll get you in for a new book showcase.
Yes.
Down the road.
Thank you.
Down the road. That's Leenee Reid, everyone. Thank you again. Happy Pride. Happy Pride. Well, I hope you're enjoying this parade so far. I sure am, from where I'm sitting here in my virtual lawn chair on the parade route. Our parade route takes us next to Dublin, where we will get to celebrate Pride with Mark Ward. Mark, whose new book is out from Salmon Poetry, just joined us last week. It was last week.
It was last week.
It was last week where we got to hear poems from Nightlight and some new work. We love your new work. I want to also elevate and amplify and particularly make sure that those of you in the room are aware that Mark is the editor of the absolutely visionary, exquisitely curated, and ever possible international LGBTQ plus journal, Impossible Archetype. And is this its sixth year? My numbers are a little off.
Seventh year.
Seventh year.
We're currently open for submissions till the 1st of August for issue 14.
Okay. So folks, you heard it here. You're the audience that Mark seeks.
Absolutely. Would love to read your poems. Send them in.
Send them in, and maybe you'll put something in the chat. So again, I want to say thank you so much for the ways that you support the LGBTQ plus community internationally with your amazing publication. And I think it's safe to say that those folks that often are doing the kind of community work that you are doing, that can make it even more challenging to do your own writing. And so that is an amazing thing to be offering to be offering the world, Mark. And
Thank you.
in addition to your own poetry that I just absolutely swoon and admire so much. And I'm so happy, of course, that you're my salmon brother. Everyone, would you please welcome Mark Ward?
Thank you, Sandy. You always make me feel a little emotional with your introduction, but thank you so much.
I'm going to read you a few poems for Pride. I'm going to open with a poem from Nightlight. This is after 1970s poet John Wiener's, and it's I realize now more than I read it, I tend to open set that it's a Pride poem. It's called A Poem for Actors. The room is filled with light, our bodies heaving with air. We are present in a way no one understands the lives we flee from. Documenting impermanence is a form of strength. This palmed love is codified among the slats where we distill into performance. The lines alive, transformed in utterance from the author's burden, the audience's expectation. What this means is our translucence, the utter destruction of days, for this is what we are made for. That moment of disappearance where we are done with pretending we are not the dawn, backlighting the empty stage, the applause. Now we are your disbelief, your pause at our encroaching light. So again, Brochana and Happy Pride to everybody. I thought I'd read a poem about something you don't hear of often, or at least not often enough, which is queer joy. And this is a poem called Slow Evening, which opens with a quote from Christina Rossetti, which is at length, slow evening came. Everything is heavy. The day recedes like a train tunnel, light speeding away. I lie on your chest, a dreamless rest in your protectorate. YouTube plays. The cat claims your legs, a hot water bottle, a furry Ouroboros wait. You snore. I lie on your chest. Your breathing evening effortless. This next poem is, I think about Pride. When I think about Pride, I think about history in a lot of ways. And there was you know, when you're Wikipedia hopping and you find links or just find these links, I found a statistic, and the statistic was that in 1992 in Dublin, there were 72 people who had HIV. And this poem is called 1992. Dublin is a small city, and behind my eyelids, I could see the 71 others who contracted it. The regulars slow faded, leaving behind a bar stool no one had the heart to take. We danced around the issue. Some burst through doors half mad and cephalitic, although we didn't know the words then, looking for their old body. The windows were sheet metal, harder to break, and I played the historian, removed from it, free to document us. I wrote rough notes on coasters about the men I refused to be a part of. I lusted over stunning non-starters, a conversation I could not have. The beautiful boy, untouchable, we all were. I wrote until closing time. This next poem is a longish poem, and it's a new poem. I really enjoy reading it live, so I thought I'd read it for today. And it's preceded by a quote from Andrew Marvell's To His Coy Mistress, which is, why thy willing soul transpire, that every pore instant fires. Now let us sport us while we may, and now like amorous birds of prey. So this is dedicated to Mr. M, and is a poem called Bite Me. Oh, flesh adjusted in the mirror, a new haircut, your best jeans, figure hugging, a lamp left on to fool the neighbors, to guide you home. Once night has lost the arm wrestle and offered you a prize from its sack. Oh, flesh squared, blinking, blocked, the possibilities signaling my private. Some waves will dash themselves on the rocks, on your chest. Blinkered, everything is an obstacle to us. Who welcomes who, begins to improvise within discussed roles, hopes. Oh, flesh anticipating its languid huddling. Bumper cars careening as half-removed tops get caught in elbows, a moment of silence to undress. A bundle of nerves fire. laughing slurs at each other. Oh, flesh, dry-lipped and licking, demanding more. Flesh, demanding an enveloping sensation. Tongues and fingers weighted, reduced to it. Crescendo. Skin is the largest organ. A bite, a tussle, banqueted, or an ornate frontispiece hung, writhing. You watch your children grow. We are selfish and brilliant and ardent and heading out. Oh, flesh, surrounded by night, following paths worn into the ground, ancestral ley lines, pointers here, a rustle, an animal, a sighting of him, a silent glance commanding. Oh, flesh, uncomplicated and sustaining, a loneliness perhaps, but one mastered in an hour, an evening, sometimes a lifetime, or all three. We are here together, dissolving into each other, into pleasure, because we want to become it, because we are. Don't you feel alive? Don't you feel it too, growing between us, cresting? We are always ready for the mess of it, eager for it. Oh, flesh, never become a shell, never house distance. Remember to flush with goosebumps at his touch. Remember to feel the evening breeze unsettle you. Remember that the trees were planted to become your canopy, that the city was made for you to inhabit. We can have all you admire, and crucially, more. Oh, flesh, self-aware and looking for impalement, the soul leaping out, leaving only the body like a stomach hurtling down a roller coaster, your muscles atop an altar, a flash of light, clouds drawn back like curtains, the audience applauds, promise revealed, the smile appreciative. Oh, flesh, housing a chorus of breath, simmering down, small talk. We are perfect and therefore able for something bigger, for round two, for stay, being brave enough to risk. Do you know who you want to be? Do you want to make a home in this one? You can. Oh, flesh, hold on to him through the night, through the span of sunlight, revel in him, in them, grateful for another night, a body that knows how to become, to remain friends, that knows the importance of family. They never understood. Oh, flesh, I hold myself in readiness. I have one more. This is from Nightlights. And it is set in San Francisco, 1945. And it's about the gay sailors, and GIs, soldiers who never went home. Because, like all queers, they were looking for and found a new world in this bride. If you don't already have it, I hope you have that new world. The New World, San Francisco, 1945. I sit on the sidewalk and stuff their uniform. Discharge papers crumble under my fist. I watch the queer city swallow the bus that brought me. The war. Each eyeful of this place claims its space in me. The farm where I'm from, gone. A familiar face, a nod, another, uniforms magnetized to each other. No parents, no pastor. We are the tide lapping the shore. We room together for understanding. We whisper about when they came, our names underlined, unable to look us in the eye, or worse, the image of us at play spread across their retina. We disappeared with the magic of paperwork, our crimes coded in discharge colors. We were supposed to go back to shame, to static geography, work, family, to nice girls and monotony. Instead, we chose the noise of this city. We carve it around us. Its buildings sculpt our rhythms, our skin, our nights. Within each moment, we are finally alive in the new world. Thank you, everybody. Happy Pride.
You know, now that I heard you last Sunday, I heard you this Sunday, I might just have to create another reading for next Sunday, just so.
I'll be there.
Everyone, that is Mark Ward with some poems from the new book from Salmon Poetry, Nightlight. that book up one more time, would you?
Yeah. Problem is, it's so dark. It's a beautiful
I
cover, but you
know.
can't see it in the light.
You know
And
what?
it's
It needs
gorgeous.
its own light. Like it needs like
There
a
we go.
little LED thing that like you can press on it and it would light up. You should talk to Siobhan about that.
Sure.
For the
sure.
second edition, if they could actually put a nightlight in it.
Oh my God! Don't be giving me ideas. Don't be giving me ideas.
That's
I like
that's
it.
all that's all I'm good for. Is that
Sure.
kind of stuff.
No. It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
And again, just a reminder, everybody, thank you for the amazing, you know, what I really appreciate is, I mean, first of all, I love the energy of your voice, but I also love the crescendo and I love today that you brought like the ecstatic with.
I was
Like-
trying. Thank you.
Like you always have that, like, so, and the importance of joy.
Mm. It is important. The
Oh.
connection. Yeah.
It is very much so. Again, and a reminder that submissions to Impossible Archetype are
Open till the 1st of August.
till the 1st of August. Please
Yeah.
feel free to put that in the chat. Where
I will,
people-
and people were asking there about Nightlight. I'll put that in the chat as well. And thank you all for listening.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon. All right, everyone. The parade continues. I did not have like the thing, but the closest I could come with is a pink yardstick. You know, whatever the marching band person has. I particularly like this yardstick because it has the word Formica on it. And those of you who know me know I have a penchant for Formica tables. I am just having so much fun at the parade. I hope you all are too. Hope you are enjoying the powerful poetry. And there's a few bubbles. We move along now to our next poet. I am so excited to be able to have Gustavo Hernandez join us today, this afternoon for us here on the West Coast. Gustavo's debut collection, Flower Grand First. Not all of my books were packed away. Oh, but so many were, but yours was not. And so I was able to pull it out for today. I was able to have it for today. There it is, debut collection. I'll just mention Gustavo has joined us a number of times. And I believe the first time that you joined us was with Charles Flowers and Kim Ports Parsons for our reading on the Poet's Focus was Bloom. And of course, because of the title of your book, How Could We Resist? And also for Charles, I want to mention, I want to try to bring in and call in as much of our history as possible here too. That Charles was the longtime editor of. I have all the copies of the literary journal Bloom, and was such an important contribution to publishing and amplifying the voices of writers in the LGBTQ plus community. And even though Charles isn't with us here today, I just want to send my thanks to him for all the voices that his work has cultivated over the years. And I'll also mention another journal that was the precursor to Bloom, some of you might remember the Evergreen Chronicles. And I also have some issues of that. And maybe next year, when I'm unpacked, we can actually show some pictures and of some of these journals so that you can see, maybe we'll do a roll call from some of them as well. So you can hear where some of our just most vibrant and significant voices were able to publish in earlier times. Well, Gustavo Hernandez, here you are with us today with your debut collection, maybe some new work. I don't know. We didn't talk about what you're going to share today, but you're wonderful. You're amazing. I am so glad, so grateful to know you, and to have your voice, vision, and vitality as part of my life.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Sandy. I've told you this many, many times, but I adore you. You are a wonderful person and you just make me smile all the time. When I see you, when I read your work, when I hear about you, it's just smiles all around. Thank you for having me. Thank you to Fern and Leenee and Mark for those wonderful poems. I'm going to, oh, and also I just wanted to mention Impossible Archetype was one of the first journals that I was ever published in. And it's an amazing, amazing journal. Mark does such a wonderful job with it. So I would encourage anyone who wants to submit, because Mark seriously treats you with such respect and he is a champion of poetry. So, you know, who better to submit poems to? So thank you, Mark. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate what you do and I appreciate your work. I'll start off with a poem from Flower Grant first, and then I think I'm going to read a bunch of new stuff. Yeah, maybe all new stuff, we'll see. So this poem's called Santana, 4th grade. Is that the fairy? Our voices all squeak, so this question isn't about that. Someone's been paying attention, and again, I am named before I have understood myself. Someone has discovered me, a girl who is the cousin of a boy I thought and called my friend, a boy who's named himself White Trash because he is among us. Someone has discovered me, chaining the clovered horizon to garland. They've seen the crushed jacaranda paste on my palms. So this is the spot where I branch out in purple. Here where the popsicle melts its red and its blue, this one street, wide as a landing strip, heat waves rippling into the invisible, asphalt markings that lead up to them like a parable to temptation. Thank you. So that poem is about an experience I had very early on in my life that just stayed with me. And I had to write it. It was one of the poems that I knew that I always needed to write. And luckily it, once I started focusing on writing poems for this book, it just was like, here I am, I'm all yours. So yeah, I'm gonna read new work now. And this work is more current as far as like my own personal timeline, and sometimes even, forward facing. This poem's called Hercules and His Boyfriend's Hair. Waves, and in a dark so forgiving, it doesn't have to be midnight. I tell you waves, even though in the older myths we are told curls. I ask you to believe me, lover. It won't work as well if you do not. Think of other translations we found permissible. Our hero played by that famous bodybuilder. To get the job, he fudged the truth about his stage experience. The chariot scene on the streets of New York was shot without a permit. Earlier, that claymation nightmare where both of our men were in their 30s, probably classically trained, and I think British. So here the boyfriend's hair is the tide, but the fathers are still immortal and long dead. You see, this isn't some revolutionary departure. We start in a hotel room with our hero running his fingers through the dark. Gold-plated box chain, a Hawaiian shirt hanging off a writing desk, a blunt and common scene and message. This myth, like everything else in the realm of love, can be stripped down to the vulnerable, to admitting we need someone to bear our arrows, to guard our bow. Thank you. This poem is called Husband. Despite the times we couldn't decide how to answer, we went on. For instance, that spring on the road home from Arizona, when the thundering sky began to unseat itself and we felt the desert in California come up and ask us for a definition. I'd realized by then we'd never know how to pin it down, never know what we needed. I, at that point, just needed you to join me in saying that lovers like us want to be called, to call each other different things. Hunk, honeymoon, heart, habitat, things that can be blurred, if necessary, expanded. Thank you. This one's called Window Shades. Even the neighbors are going through this with me. Maybe more than the family I worry or those old discarded friends who'd no doubt say I'm suffering from a tangled spirit, who'd prompt me to dive into some mystic bog for a solution, even though they know I no longer have the eye or the knife for that. The men next door never prompt or ask. They regularly slice plastic away from copper wire in their backyard and listen to me praying, never to a god, just to myself or those few times early on to the man who left me behind. They hear the songs of a romantic, the machine bolts of a futurist, the words of someone who fears the contour that his questions form. Sometimes there's a poker game. Sometimes they look away from their hands to see what my hands and my shampoo have done to my new boyfriend's thick, dark hair. Of my progress, I do believe they have the clearest accounting. The tones of my voice, the discography's shifting, the years away from the family home I cry and shower off. We've thrown every bit of the small talk and the posturing away. In the mornings, we wave and watch our eyes become more earnest by the day. Thanks. This poem is called Bachelor. Useless now, turning to thoughts of winning the day back. Outside, the dirt gray backwash against the curbs. How sad it is to brush away the empties. You and you and you who may by now be on the other side of Broadway, I don't feel like making up a new apology. Not when this kiss was unavoidable. Not when this heat and this man's words hit like Jupiter 8 chords, and not when a new chord has been known to bring entire cities back. Think of blood in the body, of all the new ghosts lined up at the edge of the sun's western copper, the things they'd give to be here now. Thank you. This next poem is called Summer, You're a Boneyard. It was published in Poem a Day in March, and it was selected by Diane Knox. She was curating that month's poem selection. So I listed her earlier in the chat, and she is such a huge supporter of our communities. There is nothing but love. And I'm forever grateful to her. Summer, you're a boneyard, and you used to be the Richard Bay show and my sister Spaghetti. Under a friar plum tree, a simplified reading of the Argonautica. You kept me full and entertained. I was that kind of round child, gorging on what was left over. I didn't want a real burden, my own ship or story. I didn't want to go on ahead. I didn't want to have to reverse into you, into your apparatus. I never wanted nostalgia. We used to know each other, remember? Dry, humid, not humid, dry, humid, dry, humid, dry. Why did we have to pry open our patch of dirt? Why couldn't you always be acid wash or those I can't drive 55 posters at the swap meet or sunglasses? I never wanted to lay questions around you. What if he takes another this year? What if he's difficult to talk my way out of? What if he eats me only half alive? What if all he is in his beach bum orange is ghost clothespin to the laundry line? Thank you. I have 2 more poems. I'm gonna read probably the closest thing I have to like a straight up love poem to you all. And I'll read that, and then I'll read one of my poems that it's about my niece who's 3. And it's the first, I have a couple of poems that I'm writing for the new book that are, it's her voice, right? In the future, which is, has been very interesting, but also really heartwarming. So here's the love poem. It's called February, Estoy aquí. What you feel, it is the breath of the next world. I know. I have been here with the door and this window open all day. And the next world has found its place again in this kitchen, and it is still my father telling me the sky is clearing, and it is still the avocado tree in the backyard for decades recklessly giving itself away. It is a song that's been the pillar of poem after poem, and it is the day after the day you said you loved me. You know, my mother always warned me never to mistake a house, not even hers, for the house of divine providence. But you are here with your palms over my palms, and your face almost feels like a miracle. Thank you. So this next poem is called Yuzuko Right After Sundown. My niece's name is Yuzuko, which translates to citrus child. The electric razor at your cheek beneath the orange tree. You and the razor and me and the orange tree and the worn book in my hands in the hand mirror and the past behind us. You said the past was tall as Minoan horses, the sun and the orange glow in the yard. You said you liked the old Greeks best when they described ivory and the gold you could shape to adorn it, when they wrote ivory and gold in hooves and wreaths, stretches of them, long forward-facing roads of them. Ivory and gold shaped into battle and deluge, shaped into the loss of hope, into myths, and into people answering their own prayers and questions. You said you answered your own question about hope and facing forward. You asked me to find you the story about that one head honcho threatened by a flood, about a bird that guided him to the top of some mountain. A little bird, a mountain that had always been there. Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone.
I don't know if you can hear a little chime in my heart. Like I already want the next reading. I mean, isn't that horrible of me? Everybody, that is Gustavo Hernandez. Oh, the day that I came into a Zoom room and met you was one of the best days of my life. My gosh. Thank you. Thank you. the debut collection, Flower Grand First. I don't know. There we go. There we go. It's right up there next to my little postcard that says poetry is for everybody. Oh, and Julie Marie Wade's amazing collection. This is a limited edition called Pride. Julie Marie Wade, I just read today, is going to be having a new collection of fiction. No, it might be like hybrid about Mary Tyler Moore and her connection with Mary Tyler Moore. I almost fell over. David Groff, sorry, also right up there too, David. I didn't take that down from last week either. Andrea Deacon is peeking back behind there. There's just, just these are books I haven't had the heart to pack yet. I haven't been able to pack them yet. Thank you again, Gustavo. I'll see you soon. Well, folks, we have one more featured reader. But let me talk about who we're not getting to see today before the next person goes. We had ready to go. They were excited. Trace Peterson was going to be joining us. Co-editor along with T.C. Tolbert, of the literally groundbreaking, earth-shattering, so significant, Troubling the Line anthology, trans poetry and poetics. I remember when the anthology came out. In fact, Evergreen was one of the sites of one of its launch parties. And I can see the reading plain as day, sitting in the Library Underground, where Fern and I have both read, in Library Underground. And that's where that launch party was for Troubling the Line. So Fern, you have been in with the energy of that launch when we've been down in the Library Underground. So Troubling the Line, if you're not familiar, is from Nightboat Books, and Nightboat Books continues since it did in 2013, because Troubling the Line is now celebrating its 10th anniversary. 2018, Nightboat Books also published Queer Poets of Color. This is the first major anthology of queer poets of color. So many, such significant voices here. I'll just name a few: Audre Lorde, Tommy Pico, Jericho Brown, Natalie Diaz, James Baldwin, Carl Phillips, Justin Chin. I could go on and on. Richard Blanco, Pat Parker, Cedar Saiga. Reginald Shepard. Oh my gosh. As I keep looking at these, I'm just Eduardo Corral. Someone also put Rigoberto Gonzalez. Yep. Said Jones. Just again, if you are not familiar with this collection, Queer Poets of Color from Nightboat Books, and also the other trans anthology, We Want It All, came out, I believe, in 2019. I don't have the dates. It's packed in my boxes. I'm sorry, everybody. I couldn't find it. But I just want to remind you all. So Trace was going to be joining us. And of course, Kai Coggin, Poet Laureate of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and also the host of Wednesday Night Poetry. her latest collection is Mining for Stardust. So filling in for the two of them, cannot fill those shoes. Somebody named Sandy Yannone. I'm going to read 3 poems for you all. I'm going to start with actually the title poem to my collection that's going to be coming out next February with Salmon Poetry. I'm going to read this poem for my dad. It's also Father's Day, so he's really influenced me in so many ways. And this next book is titled The Glass Studio, and he was a stained glass artisan. And this is the title poem, The Glass Studio. I must go back to that photograph of me, 14, on an early morning in my father's makeshift sweatshop on the unfinished second floor of my grandparents' house, leaning over beige glass squares arranged in a plaster-poured mold, my Red Sox cap cocked backwards like a trigger, waiting for release, my left hand steadying the steaming soldering iron, while my right pushes coiled snakes of lead into the iron's hot tip to melt them into quick silver seams, fusing those cut glass squares into translucently beautiful panes if I hold them up to the light breaking through the second floor window. I sweat through this labor. I breathe in the noxious fumes. I wear no protective mask. My hot pink lungs slow burn towards death. Hour after hour, I run my hands over glass like this, iron and lead, like over the seams of women's bodies it will take years for me to touch. I use the same precision to bring them full circle to when they become translucent. My father teaches me all this with squares of cut glass, not ever saying the word sex, without ever claiming to transfer the knowledge of how he broke into my mother's body to create something sacred akin to a family. Downstairs, my grandfather returns from hours emptying glasses filled with Kentucky bourbon and ice, brings home his daily ragings like newspaper headlines, and smashes everything on the first floor to tiny bits. I sit up here on a metal stool in the glass studio, mute like a bird who has lost faith in song, soldering everything back into place. At the height of these humid summer afternoons, my father disappears after his initial instructions and before my grandfather returns. He teaches me not to press the iron against any glass square in the mold for too long. He shows me how the iron-willed iron desires nothing beautiful in its intention to burn. So if left resting on the glass's skin, it will provoke an irrevocable wound. After hours inside of this sweat and burn, heat from the tip of the iron threatening to welt my skin with each beaded line, the fumes filling my lungs like my grandfather's cigarette smoke overtakes the living room where my grandparents sit ruined downstairs. I close up the studio, pressing the sashes down hard and drawing the curtains closed like stitches. Turn off my iron, clean the tip in toxic flux until it smokes, whip down the staircase where on the other side of the wall, my grandparents smolder in today's aftermath of broken glass. I pull the door tight to keep them inside, turn the brass doorknob hot in my palm, run next door, up the stairs to my bedroom and strip. My skin now a mix of sweat from lead and labor and fear. I pull on my one-piece bathing suit, ride my bike fast away to the beach, lay down on the hot sand next to the beautiful girls on their backs, on their striped towels, tanning themselves into womanhood, their new breasts coming in like delicate blown glass floats adrift from the sea and landing on the creamy skin of the shore, miraculously whole, like art, like the glass-infused light cast from the hanging lamps I assemble through my teenage years in the illegal glass studio of my father's naive making. Thank you so much. The next poem I'm going to read is a poem that I really wish I'd never had to write. I wrote this sestina almost within days of the Pulse nightclub shooting. And I want to just give a content notice that this does take us into the nightclub. And so there's mention of gun violence and as well as suicide. So if you need to mute or turn your camera off or mute me, fine. Please take care of yourself. This is called Requiem for Orlando. I am struggling now to comprehend my pulse, how I still have one, after all the opportunities I've had to die by my own hands, with too many drinks downed in bars, then driving while I waited to become my uncloseted self. And now I have nothing to do but pulse with crackling rage, while I raise an empty glass, mourning the fact that you, Orlando, lost so many hearts, lips, and hands, all wanting to give back something to the other hearts that beat like hell on that dance floor before the clock struck 1. You, alive. You, raising your drinks to the glassy air. You, raising your brown Orlando hands to the heavens in the heat of your last night at Pulse. And of course, you don't know this. Don't know that death is waiting around the corner like a drunk in a car as you wait for last call. Your early morning heart drums faster to keep perfect time with its perfect pulse as it moves closer to each body on the dance floor, to the one you will leave this world with tonight, with your hands locked tight, pressing each other's calloused palms, your glassy eyes looking forward to the next time you raise them like a glass. Clutch them in the grace of everything that the body waits to release when it releases itself from the tenuous grip of hands in the act. And doesn't your Orlando always resemble the heart? Restless, resilient, eager to demonstrate how it is one with the divine, how it yearns to live from within its own pulse. And now I am pondering the woman who sat next to me, our pulses quickening on my porch steps before we kissed, then shuffled our hearts back into the deck to hide in the shadows of the one true thing I know I have been waiting to discover with another. And now all the crushed drinking glasses resemble diamonds on the dance floor, and a pair of smeared sunglasses rests on the floor of the massacre's aftermath, inside and outside of Pulse. Orlando, the world will wake up Sunday morning with news of your murdered hearts. And in the 5th stanza, I've dropped a line in shock. My hands go cold from grief. I don't know if I can spare to wait for the one who could be the one, while everyone in Orlando is one dance step away from their hearts shattering like blown glass floats that hands once held precious, waiting for love to pulse. Yes, pulse. And still, I have one. I wish I could say all the names today. Yeah, I'm going to end with the title poem from my debut collection, Votes for Women. And thank you so much, Kim and Don, for having me today. And to all of you for listening. This is Boats for Women. Yes, the boat sank. Yes, it broke in two like a stereotypical heart until 70 years later, technology caught up and looked its ancestors in the face. Yes is the way the years oxidize the steel, and yes wipes the name Titanic off the bow. Yes are the women and children first, the lifeboats, the davits. Yes are the men who cry from the decks. Sometimes when I kiss her, I am leaving a yes on her lips to let her know I will go down with this ship. Sometimes when she whispers yes, we are staying on board. But there is always room in the lifeboats for 2 more women. Yes is the fact that if we were alive on that night, we would have lived. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you to Fern and Leenee, Mark and Gustavo, our tremendous featured poets today on our Poetry Pride Parade, our 4th annual Poetry Pride Parade. I should say that we are so fortunate because the parade continues. We'll be going a little longer than normal, but don't worry, it will not be 4.5 hours. It will not even be 2 hours, my friends. We're going to head now right over to the open mic, and it'll be 1 poem up to 3 minutes. And we're going to hear first, and oh, let me just also say, I always like to remind everybody, any day our open micers could be, have been, and will be our featured poets. No worries, no worries. So I want to just really thank everyone for stepping up and reading a poem and sharing a poem today for this just wonderful occasion that I look forward to every year. Our first poet today, the amazing Joanne James. Thanks for being here, Joanne. Hope you're enjoying the reading.
Yes, I love the reading. And you reminded me it was Father's Day, and I would like to mention Juneteenth. Because when I finish here today, we have a big Juneteenth celebration happening in our city park. I'm here from, I live in the Willamette Valley in Oregon, and that's the stop on the parade. My poem is Verge of Desire. Rumor she'd been knifed on the Lower West Side. I never knew what to believe, but nothing held me back. My tragic flaw is I have always been gullible. Do you know this desire? It's like leaning into everything. It's everything at once. It wants this moment to press in on all sides and never end. Because I was married when I kissed her first, Then meeting her on a lunch break, I drove to Dave Ball Chevrolet, where she was a service manager, shifting out of one desire into another. I didn't brake, but bumped the plate glass window of the car dealership. Everything didn't come crashing down on me like I thought it would. I tried to play it cool when she came out laughing and told me she'd take the wheel of my '80 Ford Granada, what someone called a grandpa car. Why did you buy a grandpa car? We loved the roomy back seats, V8 engine. We needed to go places fast in an avalanche of desire. When I'm with her, I can barely speak. Words verge from my tongue for her ear only. I tried listening to her with my eyes closed and saw the future dripping a sheen over everything. A meteor shower shooting lights. There's glue between us, not tyranny. Reach and rumble, thunder, jelly, billions of meteors pulsing when we went up the hill in the dark that first day in February. Thank you.
That is Joanne James. That, oh, what a poem that is. Wow. Thank you so much. Folks, you know my penchant. I want to gab after every poem, but I do want to get as many people in. So just know that I so appreciate everyone reading, and I'm going to move things along. Our next reader will be Diane Knox. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Diane.
Thank you for having me. I have a book out. It's called Red Hot Pepper. My poem is called Repulsed, and it's in response to a gentleman that they interviewed right after the awful carnage. Repulsed. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, dude. People are getting shot, dude. We need to get out of here, dude. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, dude. Barely made it out. Barely is enough. Enough is way too much. No more is too late. The patients have no pulse. Vibrant, pulsating hearts. Music, silent, repulsing blood, cries, silence, ringtones. Everyone get out and keep running away from pulse. Keep running with your pulse. Keep your pulse running. Oh my God, dude. He keeps saying, oh my God, dude. Anguish-faced, tormented vocals, shock eyes, shaking skin. Oh my God, dude. People are getting shot, dude. Om, my God. We need Om, my God. Om, your God. Om, all God. Om, our God. Om, all God, dude. Om, all God, dude. Om, all God, dude. People are not getting shot. Om, all God, dude. Thank you.
I so appreciate you bringing that poem, Diane. That's what poetry is for. One of the many things it's for. You know, someone in this room, Glass, the literary journal Glass put out they did a special issue in August of 2016, right after the, only a couple months after the shooting. It's still there. And there were many many, many poets of color in that special issue, because there were so many people of color that were murdered. I mean, yeah. Requiem for Orlando was actually, that's where it was published, just the 2 months after. So if you'd like to see Requiem for Orlando that I read today, that's where you can find it on Glass, a poetry journal online. But what I want to say in response to Diane very quickly before we hear from Jennifer Elise Wang is that I hope someone in this room will at some point do an anthology, as hard as it would be. They will create an anthology of poetry related to Pulse. So if someone's going to do that, contact me, let me know, and I'll help you however I can. And I'm sure everyone in this room would as well. Thank you again, Diane. That's Diane Knox. And congratulations on your new collection. Get you on the program when we come back from our summer hiatus. And we'll talk about that at the end of the program. Well, please welcome person I'm always so glad when this beautiful human being comes into my squares, Jennifer Elise Wang. Welcome, Jennifer.
All right, hey, it's a little tough act to follow, and I'm gonna do something a little different. I found out that today is Autistic Pride Day, and I was diagnosed with autism a year ago, and I've actually met a lot of fellow queers who also realized they were autistic late in life. So I'm gonna read my poem, Autism Anger, a little bit of a content warning with allusions to violations of consent. But here it is, Autism Anger. Realizing you are not a washed up child prodigy just because you are suddenly unable to balance checkbooks and chemical equations when you also have to decorate for a party and have an essay due tomorrow. Being called rude, picky, high maintenance, gross, when you just like order, your order of controlled chaos. Realizing you are not a crazy cat person, cats communicate more directly, consistently. Spending hours talking about cats and otters, skating and motocross and writing and sharing your writing over and over again, possibly to deaf ears, because you have to. Realizing the times you could not give consent because you were uninformed and asexual, you just wanted to play video games in their room. Being mistaken for 17 when you're 35 because adulting is extra hard and emotions are harder. Wondering if you are a sociopath after you ignore some rules at work and only cry when you see others do it because emotions are hard. Being called fake and two-faced when you are just trying to act normal, be like everyone. Learning you've given up so much of yourself because you don't look autistic, but you still need to grow up and stop being so weird and learn etiquette and professionalism and smile more and speak up and stop moving so much and just be normal.
Thank you, Jennifer Elise Wang. Happy Autism Pride Day.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm adding that to my list now. June 18th. Wow, so many things converging, right? June 18th, Autism Pride Day. Juneteenth, the 19th. We got solstice coming up. Serious energy being generated in the world right now. Ooh, very good. Oh, our next reader. I am so happy to see Meriam in this room and reading a poem on the open mic today. Mary, of course, along with Risa Denenberg, is the co-founder of Headmistress Press. Mary read in the open mic on the first annual Poetry Pride Parade. I remember it very well. And Risa was one of our featured poets. In fact, I believe Risa was the first person who read. And I remember Risa was in her car having some issues with her mic. So I have fond memories of our first Pride Parade, and I'm so grateful for you, Mary, coming today. And I thank you, and I look forward to hearing your poem.
Thanks, Sandy. You look fabulous, by the way. What a great outfit. Thanks for being the Grand Marshal and doing this. Just really been great. This poem is called, this poem is actually from the very first book that was published by Headmistress Press. I figured that I would do the test run in one of my own chapbooks and like sort of learn how to make a book and publish it, you know? So, so 10 years ago, Headmistress Press was started, and this is from the first book that was published by Headmistress. Lesbian Studies. Excuse me. Lesbian Studies. Oh, my muse, promiscuous muse, my bunny, hop off paper, hop in my arms, my darling muse, not mine, my everyone muse. Please let me touch and amuse you. Now the past is sliding away, past harm's way, past the nightmare hidden in sex's dream, when you, in need, decided to strip and show your body to die for. Naked, word hot, here are your breasts. I'm breathless writing this, yes, throbbing and flushed. Your memoir's pictures move me far from a text perusal. Write me, I'm lovesick. Thank you.
That is great. That is Meriam. Happy 10th anniversary. Oh man, no, they're packed. All my lesbian trading cards are packed. Every single issue of them. Congratulations, and again, thank you for all that you and Risa have contributed to really to the, you know, to this reading today feels like we're honoring so much history. And so I'm just so glad for every contribution today, because it reminds us how important it is to document and make sure that we're aware of who's come before us, who's helping create the path for the future. And certainly Headmistress Press is one of those beacons in our communities. Thank you so much again, Mary, and again, congratulations, happy Pride, and thank you, Risa. And I'm going to see you in a couple of days. So I'm so fortunate today. I mean, every single thing is so special today. Every single moment. And the next moment is I get to see and hear a poem from my amazing sibling, salmon sibling. Lee, hi, how are you?
Hi, Sandy. This is wonderful. Thank you to everybody so far for reading. Holy crow, what a reading. I can't even, I'm sort of like, I can't follow these people, but I'll try.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. First, before I read, I want to show you my Toad of Pride, the shirt with my little, it's cute. Yay. All right. So let me just, it was here a minute ago. There it is. I'm going to read a love poem. Nude in Cape Light for S. I wake in the half light of pre-dawn. See you have turned on your side, silhouetted, soft curve of your hip, spine a bow like a charcoal sketch, arms gathering your breasts. I am awestruck, want to touch, but know you are exhausted, need your sleep. I just watch, catch my breath as dawn sneaks through the blinds, licks us both with her tongues of blue, then pink.
Oh, we got to get those love poems in. We got to get them in wherever we can get them, whenever we can get them in. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here. And thank you for all the ways that you have participated over the years in Cultivating Voices live poetry and as part of our Pride series. Well, folks, next, it's so special. This is what I'm saying. Like today, just, you know what? I asked Kai Coggin earlier to sprinkle some stardust from because Kai's new book is Mining for Stardust. I think that's what happened. There's so much stardust in this room. Him and Karen are together in the same room.
Hello.
Amazing. Well, Karen Poppy joined us very, very recently with your fabulous new collection, your first full-length collection. And you just did a great reading in Charlottesville, Virginia. There it is. Clap, applause, applause. So fresh off that reading, I give you all Karen Poppy.
Thanks, Sandy. And I'm a little shy reading this one. Gustavo mentioned Diane Seuss earlier, and this is actually a response to a poem by Diane Seuss, folk song. I wrote it this week in Charlottesville at the University of Virginia in a forest garden that has a spire called Murden Spire made out of sandstone. It's dated to 1450, and it was a gift in 1927 to the University of Virginia from Oxford. So this is titled Call and Response to Diane Seuss's folk song, which is a wonderful poem, and for Murden Spire, Life, an Ancient Creature of Stone. Let me tell you, as I enter this afterlife conversation in body and breath, I have lived life as a candlestick burned all the way down to last of wick. Wick is in this green part of me that survived stalk and seed, that thrived despite scorch, drought, and neglect, flames of their jealousy, theft of their greed. You covet my weightlessness, my eyes aquamarine, platinum set. But to our bones, time hews us down the same, dissolves skin, feet, and names. Let me tell you, we never rise out of peasantry. Our nobility does not allow for that, does not allow for our earth-shaped hands to tilt on any other axis, to defy gravity. I tell you gravely as we enter our graves are birthright and birdsong, rush of water, crackling gravel, of punk rock laughter, postmodern falsetto. I tell you nothing lives lighter than heaviness, complaints, double-fisted jokes disguised as sorrows, Nothing lives heavier than sorrows disguised as jokes, as if this shot up world is funny, as if we're going for a spin on a bloody merry-go-round, traipsing on Tuesday through a Sunday parade, peasants in potato fields or sneaking of smoke. I am tired of self, of honor, dishonor. I am tired of politics, ticking time bomb of my open casket show, empty confessional as thin drawn as a swing on a trapeze, and as lithe as its swinging artist. Suspended, spotlights blinding, no net. Splashdown stinks from those long intestinal windings of our river stinks. To dance weightless, life in this world of loot and loot. To own your branch and your root. Light and darkness oozes and leaks. We all come from and resurrect to a festival of freaks.
Okay,
Thank you.
like you wrote that poem like a few days ago.
Yes, and I should have said before that loot, it's L-O-O-T and loot, L-U-T-E. But anyway, Diane's poems freak me out, and I am a freak, so I wrote this.
Keep freaking out.
I'm just freaking out all the
Just
time.
keep freaking out. That's all I have to say is keep freaking out. If that's, you know, yes.
Can't help it. Anyway,
That's-
thank you.
yeah. Everybody, if you know Diane Seuss, you should contact Diane Seuss and say, there's an amazing poem that was just written in response. Let her know.
I actually sent a copy to her, an earlier version. When I wrote it, I just shot it off in an email. Here you go.
Good. Excellent. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. And that we have this now on video. I mean, or on recording. This is
Oh gosh.
fantastic. This is fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing where that poem gets published. It won't take long. So that is Karen Poppy, everyone. That is Karen Poppy. My friends, thank you so much. You know, our readings are so prismatic. They bring together so many facets of humanity at every turn. And I'd like to invite and send a virtual hug to my dear friend Billy Brown, who will be reading next.
Thank you, Cindy. Hello, everyone. And it's been wonderful hearing all these beautiful words and thoughts and seeing all the fabulous smiles. I haven't smiled so much in days. And I feel naked not wearing my hat with all those wonderful hats. This is not a written poem. This is a spontaneous set of a few remembrances of my brother, Peter Brown, who died at the age of 81 on Tuesday. My big brother, I was turned 79 just 4 days after his birthday on May 16th. I turned on May 20th. I tried to call Peter to wish him happy birthday, but there was no answer. And I tried again with no answer, and again with no answer, and again, no answer. And And so I called our ex-brother-in-law, the ex-husband of our deceased sister, and asked him to go to Peter's apartment, and he knocked, but no answer, no answer. And so I suggested that he go to the workplace, a recent workplace of Peter, who was delivering pizzas at the age of 81. And they said he was in the hospital. So I called the hospital, and lo and behold, my big brother Peter, was in the hospital on his birthday with a large mass in his chest, which was pressing on his heart. They regularized his heartbeat. They removed a bunch of fluid from his chest, and he seemed to be getting better. I almost immediately flew to Michigan to be with him. And after he was released from the hospital, stable, he came to live with me in an Airbnb for a few days, and then moved to a friend's house for a few days, and then to our ex-brother-in-law's house for a couple of days. I returned on Friday to Albuquerque in the middle of making plans for some assisted living for him so that he could get cancer treatment. And then all of a sudden on Tuesday night, I got a call from our ex-brother-in-law saying Peter had collapsed. His heart had stopped. His breathing had stopped. The EMTs came. They revived him. He was taken to the emergency room and then to intensive care. He was without oxygen for too long. His brain was dead. And so a couple of days later, we disconnected him from life support. My brother was a gay man. I loved my brother. I first found out when I snooped in his room when we were in high school and found a box full of photos of muscled and naked men in his closet. And, you know, I just let him be. That's not the way I was, but that's the way he was. And I loved him, and I let him be who he was. Our father, when my brother grew his hair very, very long in high school, my father kept teasing him. "You look like a girl, Peter. Get your hair cut." My father was not very accepting of Peter. And, but Peter lived his life, loved people. And I've had so many people call me saying how much they appreciated Peter, how friendly, how joyful, how loving Peter was. And I will return to Michigan in a couple of weeks to honor him in a memorial service. Thank you all for your beautiful expressions today. I do plan to write a poem. I just haven't written it down yet. And thank you for listening to my spontaneous recollections of my beautiful brother, Peter.
Thank you so much, Billy. And I know I speak for everyone in this room that, you know, our hearts just go out to you and your family. And, you know, this group is more than just a reading series, right? It is, and over the past 4 years, we share through poetry, but we share through the stories that constellate around our poems, how our joys and our griefs are always holding hands. They always are. They always are. And I so much appreciate when there is a moment when a person just needs to speak their truth about something. And it doesn't have to be crafted into a poem yet. That poem's on its way when it comes. And I'm glad we could be here today with you and honor Peter and Peter's legacy and how he's touched so many people. And now here Peter is in time immemorial in our little Zoom squares.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.
Love to you all, and happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride. Well, next, again, we have folks from all over the world with us today, and we get to hear from that beautiful person, Isaac Cohen.
Yes. Dear Sandy, dear Kim, dear Don, and dear all my friends in the world. To my darling, you're not Cohen Phelps. Isaac, what is love? The eyes, the heart, the shoulders that you touch, the smooth face that causes vibration when you kiss. I know this is love. Thank you, Isaac from Israel.
Someone gave a name to love, it would be Isaac Cohen. That would just be the name of love, Isaac Cohen. Kim's nodding her head. Yep. Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And now we get to go fishing. Holy mackerel. Oh my gosh. This day is this is a beautiful day. This is just a beautiful, beautiful day. We'll hear from Terri Rose Jertson. Thank you, Terri, for being patient and being our final reader for today.
I have a book I'm plugging, and I'm not in it, but it's LGBT book by Red or Green Books, and that's READ or greenbooks.com. You can order it on there. And this is an anthology. I'm going to read one poem out of here. It's called Love and Me, and it's by Lorenzo Rodriguez. I want you to have something tangible, a way to hold my love in your hands. Take my heart with all its chaos and hope releasing itself to you. A man that's horrid with his words. This man that although dreads ripping the Band-Aid, he does it anyway. Rips off a Band-Aid, love is in the air. Rips off the Band-Aid, we're the oxygen that heals or hurts. In efforts to let people in with a yardstick at hand, I've seen glimpses of your heart. When you let yourself be held in the warmth of this love, the love that your soul craves. Now I smile at your gaze, dazed with peace in my heart. I fade in a craze for you. That's what it's like before I wanted you to heal. Feel safe, but at your own pace. In the meantime, I'll take my space. I won't see your face until I can erase the ink I've poured in the absence of your grace. The name of this anthology is called Out Loud.
And I was gonna say,
the
can you-
publisher is Marissa Prada.
Thank you. That's Terri Rose Jertson, everyone. I really appreciate you bringing another anthology to our awareness. And earlier, I failed to mention another anthology that came from out of the Limerick Writers Center. It's called It's a Queer City All the Same. And this was published by the Limerick Writers Center in Limerick, Ireland. And I believe it came out in, let me just double check, 2016. So again, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for all the contributions today of this amazing, amazing Poetry Pride Parade. I want to take us back and remind us who we heard from today. I can't even stand it. We began, friends, it wasn't 4.5 hours ago. At least it wasn't 4.5 hours ago. We'll have gone to 2.5. That's really good for me in the Poetry Pride Parade. We began at the top of the parade. Our first float was Fern. Then we heard from Leenee Reid, Mark Ward, Gustavo Hernandez, a couple poems from this one sitting here with the hat, Sandy Yannone. And on the open mic, we heard from Joanne James, Diane Knox, Jennifer Elise Wang, Meriam, Desrosiers, Karen Poppy, Billy Brown, Isaac Cohen, Mary Owishi, a guest appearance by Riley McCutcheon. There you are, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. And we closed out today with Terri Rose Jertson. Everybody, the Pride Parade is complete for another year. And we're going to have Harvey Sauce read a poem next time. Asked a poem about Matthew Shepard, but I want to get that down. That I want to hear that poem. It's just we've gone a little long today. So I hope Harvey will bring that poem back. Everybody, would you please unmute and show your appreciation for this amazing extravaganza of voices on our 4th annual Pride Parade.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So,
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, everyone. Folks, I want to remind you very quickly that we are doing an unthinkable thing, and we're going on hiatus for the next through August. We will return on, what's the date, Kim? August 27th, is that right?
Sunday, August 27th, we're going to have our big poetry picnic, barbecue, end of summer celebration, open mic.
School, all of it. I won't be
all
going
of it.
back to school,
I don't know.
though.
That
I
wasn't very
won't.
eloquent, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so I hope everyone has a great rest of your summer. We'll see you in a few weeks. Keep us all in, keep us all in your hearts. Keep each other in your hearts. And as I always say, at the end of the program, always say this: take very, very good care of yourself. Take exceptional care of your beloveds. And this is the last thing I always say. Riley, I always tell everybody, keep writing. This is Sandy Yannone for Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Happy Pride. Happy Juneteenth tomorrow. Happy solstice. Happy summer. Safe travels, everyone. And I'll see you next time from the East Coast. Be well. Take care.